Oh, those sexy tech companies. They're in our financial news and they are on our cell phones. I think the fact that they're on our cell phones might be the most important thing about them. In a year where the stocks in most sectors have gone down, the tech stocks and the valuations of private tech companies just keep going up, up, up. The, hey, I use that every day factor has kept the dumb money flowing towards these companies, even though most people now think a price correction is inevitable. It's not that they are bad companies, some of them are great. It's just that they are super overvalued according to all traditional measures. But the dumb money keeps flowing, so the party continues. And the dumbest money of all is coming from Saudi Arabia and its crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, popularly known as MBS. As I've mentioned before, Saudi Arabia is in pretty dire straits. It's not an immediate crisis, but the long-term fall in oil prices since 2014 has made that country's model unsustainable. I'm pretty sure that we're in the last 10 years of Saudi Arabia's current model of government. To their credit, the Saudi government realizes this, and they've been making some drastic changes to try to deal with it, under the title of Vision 2030. They're trying to diversify their economy away from oil. There are new taxes, new cities, new entertainment destinations, and a not entirely fake shift away from religious fanaticism. It's not enough. I've dealt with the problems of Vision 2030 in great detail on this channel already. I've covered the fantasy of the Saudi Aramco IPO, and I've covered the brutal and ruinously expensive foreign policy that Saudi Arabia has been pursuing in places like Syria and Yemen. I think most outlets are beginning to catch up with me on these topics, at least. Even the Washington Post now concedes that the Saudi War on Yemen is a horrific disaster. And I think most people are now conceding that the Saudi Aramco IPO is never going to actually happen. But one thing that I don't think enough people are covering yet is just how dumb most of Saudi Arabia's signature investments over the past couple years have been. This simple fact is being obscured by two of the world's most effective bullshit factories, working hard to fool all of us and even to fool each other. On one side, you've got the tens of millions of dollars that the Saudi government pours into public relations. On the other, you've got the hype machine of the maturing tech investment bubble. What's fascinating is the way that these two hype machines fool each other. Tesla's Elon Musk seems to think that Saudi Arabia is going to fund a $72 billion move to take Tesla private. This is money Saudi Arabia simply doesn't have. $72 billion would be almost all the money from that Saudi Aramco IPO that isn't actually happening. Saudi Arabia is also being fooled. It keeps buying into the tech industry just as it is peaking, helping to inflate what is already a supermassive bubble. Saudi Arabia did buy 5% of Tesla earlier this year. That's an investment that lost 15% of its value just last week. You can see why Elon Musk got the wrong idea. Almost every month, there's a brand new news story that gets picked up everywhere that talks about vast sums of money and Saudi Arabia. There's that $500 billion city. There's the $80 billion worth of new nuclear plants. There's the $200 billion solar field that's supposed to be built. Very little real money is committed to any of these projects. At this point, they're all just sort of fantasy and unicorn farts, and they're very likely to stay that way. All of these projects are reliant on vast outside investments coming into Saudi Arabia. These investments are almost certain to never happen. Saudi Arabia does have vast sums of money. The problem is that it's all already overcommitted. The Saudi government expects to spend $260 billion or so in 2018, but expects to take in $52 billion less than that. So they are now taking on large amounts of debt for the first time in Saudi Arabia's history. They've got a sizable cushion, including foreign reserves of $506 billion and a less liquid public investment fund worth maybe $230 billion. But Saudi Aramco, the state oil company, is a golden goose they are in the process of killing. All of Aramco's profits are already committed to keeping the country funded. Instead of the IPO, which would have actually drawn in outside money, it's looking likely that the Saudi government will force Aramco to buy assets from the public investment fund to generate cash. This is the very definition of robbing Peter to pay Paul. Or would that be robbing Abu Bakr to pay Omar? Regardless, the Saudi government and now Saudi Aramco are taking on tons of debt to make investments in companies outside of Saudi Arabia. To make this even worse, most of these investments are in tech companies that any sane analyst can tell you are overvalued. Through SoftBank's $100 billion Vision Fund, run by a Japanese tech mogul, Saudi Arabia and the UAE, among other investors, are actively inflating the tech bubble. They are keeping the party going, but it's very likely that Saudi Arabia will lose money on most of this stuff. Take Uber, for example. Back in 2016, Saudi Arabia paid $3.5 billion for a stake that valued the company at $65 billion. Valuation of tech companies before IPOs is largely voodoo, but in 2018, with mounting legal problems and after the firing of their founder, Uber is now reckoned to be worth around $48 billion. There's a chance that Saudi Arabia will make its money back in an IPO, but there's also a very good chance that Uber will end up as the MySpace of ride-sharing and be worth nothing. This is not what Saudi Arabia should be doing with the few spare billions it has left. SoftBank's Vision Fund is based on an assumption. One or possibly two of the investments that they make will be fantastically successful, and it's quite possible that everything else they invest in will end up being worthless. This is a sound business model, but it's one that can take decades to reach fruition. Saudi Arabia does not have decades. It is very unlikely that any of these tech investments will help Saudi Arabia's economy in the slightest. This seems to be happening almost exclusively because Saudi Arabia's all-powerful crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, thinks these companies are cool. MBS is a really, really bad investor, and Saudi Arabia is going to suffer for it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and if you'd like to help me make more videos like this one, you can click on the PayPal link in the description below to send me a direct donation, or you can click on the Patreon link here to find out more about my crowdfunding thing. Thanks.